Hello and welcome to our ICC Bootcamp for June 5th, 2014. We'll be underway in just 5 minutes. Thank you for being here. Look forward to sharing with you some very interesting information today, and we'll get started on time at the top of the hour. In the meantime, we're getting settled into our new apartment. We've got lots of boxes to unload this weekend and some more shelves to put up and various and sundry storage issues to take care of, a washing machine that doesn't work, and all the normal things that happen when you move. So we're trying to continue to do our work because we need to eat, and we're obviously trying to get settled in so that we've got a comfort zone that allows us to work in relative organization. So thanks for watching this webinar today. This is our new webinar series called Webinar Jam. Still getting used to it, not used to being a talking head. Got to watch my facial expressions and whether I'm picking my nose or whatever. And I have to wear a shirt. So something that's new to me as well. And all of this is one of those things that you've got to learn to grow. Program seems to be really a good program. It's missing some of the features that I'm used to, like when to start recording. Obviously, we start recording as soon as I turn it on, as opposed to have the introductions and then start recording. So there's ways around that, and as I get more professional with it, we will obviously be able to take advantage of that. And so we'll be underway in just 3 minutes. As you can see, we have a white wall and a beautiful light tan wood door, and someday there might even be a picture up there behind me. And in the meantime, all the pictures are on the floor, and the clocks, I have 11 clocks for 11 different time zones that are still in the box, and so I rely on my little time zone chart and my world. Well, I guess that's reversed, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? Or maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing. But anyway, that's the 24-hour time clock concept that I have to use with the program here at Webinar Jam, and I'm not used to using that military time system. I'm okay up until I guess 1 o'clock, and then everything starts to go a little haywire. 1300, 1400, etc. Confuses me, my small mind. All right, well, we're just 2 minutes away from getting started. Amazing, I don't know if people missed the link, or maybe I didn't put it up there. That could be the case, so I may be doing this webinar all by myself. And if that's the case, I will, and you can watch it recorded. I've got too much on my plate, too much on my mind. I hope I didn't miss that. That'll be interesting to see. And we're just 1 minute away from getting started. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining me today on this ICC Bootcamp for June 5th, 2014. I think I've made a serious error and forgot to put the link up for this webinar, so everybody's going to have to watch it in the recorded mode by the sounds of things. But regardless, we're going to move forward. We've got this next 35-40 minutes to share with you some important information, and so I will do so and get the webinar up on the site as quickly as possible. So thank you for joining us, and it seems like we've got some people that have just joined us, so obviously the link is out there. That's great news. You all just popped in all at once, so I don't know if it took time for the system to set up. I thought I gave it enough time to get warmed up and operational. But let's get started. We've got a lot to cover. First off, what I'd like to do is go to our Financial Hope site and share some information there with you. And I guess I've got to go back and share screen. So let's go ahead and do that. And so you should be able to see the screen now. And we have our "and thanks to you" section already set up. Many of you joined "and thanks to you," and I want to thank you for doing that because it's of major benefit to all concerned. We have new updates for "and thanks to you," webinar invites for "thanks to you," and we will have some recorded webinars put up. I'm working on 2 right now. I've got to edit one that Estelle and I did. I've figured out where and how to do it, but I just haven't done it yet because it crashed. I don't think I've got enough bandwidth with this internet service that I'm using right now. But I will get that edited, and I did one last night for the My Fuel Club, and you'll be able to find it under the recorded webinars later today as well. I'll get that one done for My Fuel Club. So back to Financial Hope. Let's take a quick look at our 2014 news. No, before we do that, I'm going to go down to testimonials. We've got a couple of new testimonials that I seem to have missed. There we are. All right, so in the testimonial section, we've got a new one from Griff, and so I'm going to pop through that quickly. To all it may concern, I've been associated with Gary Douglas Holmes and Bright Star Work Center since 2011. Thanks to Gary's help, I've completed numerous tasks for Bright Star Work Center with great success. Gary has time and time again made an extra effort to teach me how to understand the difficult and sometimes confusing protocols to complete these various tasks for the Work Center. I've been impressed with Gary's enthusiasm in helping all members of the Work Center despite numerous delays and a few setbacks outside of his control. I firmly believe Gary's perseverance will bring great success to all of the Work Center members soon. I'd like to encourage Gary to continue his work and efforts as he carries on to bringing hope to those who are seeking programs like those which Bright Star Work Center offers. Griff. The latest one in a non-traditional way. Without having to give up my life to an 8-to-5 job, without having to start out with a bunch of money to invest, and without being in debt. A lofty goal, perhaps, but fortunately I found Gary Holmes who seems to have similar goals. He is well on his way to accomplishing them. I'm very grateful to ride on his coattails with his wealth of experience and knowledge. I'm now well on my way to creating wealth beyond my expectations in exactly the way I desired to do. And I think Gary and I both have an undying desire to change the world one life at a time. Gary is a true visionary and will not under any circumstances give up because he knows that what he is doing can change the world. It's certainly changed mine. Thank you, Gary, from the bottom of my heart for your steadfast desire to do good in the world. Well, thank you, Marianne, for hanging in there and standing by me as well. And so when we look at these, they might seem selfish on my part, but they're all part of Bonnie's marketing efforts and SEO, search engine optimization, to eliminate the negative about me and to provide more accurate information that people can see that I'm not the person that's portrayed there. Charged with a crime. I've never done anything to harm anybody. All I've done is tried to help people get where they want to go. And so we want to get that message out. And so if you haven't already joined Mark about Bonnie by clicking on that link, you can start with the webinars. And we're doing the webinar links on a weekly basis now. I haven't figured out in the webinar jam system how to do a month or 2 or 3 months in advance. So please bear with me, watch every week, sign in before the webinar get going. We have some pre-recorded webinars already set up with marketing with Bonnie, and you can get caught up. And you can use your BVK to join the system, just as you could when we first started. You could join now, get caught up by watching all the previous webinars, do the homework, and join in on the Wednesday evening sessions. The Wednesday evening sessions are getting better and help get involved in the SEO, search engine optimization concepts, creating our own blogs, and learning all the neat little tricks and points that we need to know that would take years to learn, but because of your steadfast desire to help us get where we need to go, we'll help you get where you want to go. It's a win-win situation for all concerned. So again, thank you so much for providing that information, both Bonnie and Griff. Next, we want to go to the 2014 news. All right, so let's get going on some of the updates. Here's an email that's going to go out probably tomorrow morning to our old Bright Star Work Center database. I forget exactly how many's in there. I think about 7,000, of which many of you are not a part of. It is a few minutes to read, but I think it sums up where we are quite well, even if I do say so myself. Be sure to watch live and recorded versions of today's ICC Bootcamp, as there's some important information there that many of you can use personally, or will know someone. Well, I guess I got to change that. K-N-O-W. It will help. Here's the email you may not get, but I don't want you to miss out. So here's what I wrote for all of the previous members. Progress of ICC and Bright Star Work Center. Eddie and I have been blessed to have withstood the trials and tribulations of these past 5 years, and our rewards will be as great as our milestones in being leaders with the Internet Catalog Club. Eddie's made more milestones than I have, but I'm truly amazed and thankful that the founders and early leaders have had such a strong vision to carry this alternative economy of commerce through capitalism to fruition, and that is where we are now. Most of you have not, and that's okay, as you're just normal and want instant gratification like the rest of the world. See Simon's email below, and I understand. You know, if you can't stick it out, it's too hard, whatever your situation is, I understand. But think about it. The managing co-venture partners, the early leaders like Javier Rene, who had a single-digit ICC number, and others who have stood the test of time and kept the vision alive for us, where would we be if it were not for them and their persistence to see this program to completion? 5 years ago, when Eddie and I arrived at the gateway to ICC, it was moving in many different directions, with work centers mostly doing their own thing. In fact, I had 5 ICC numbers before I got my present ICC number that I use now. And we were involved with a little group that there was 3 different members with 3 different work centers, all trying to do various programs that were unfortunately not successful. We were blessed early on to have audience with Ben and Richie, and Eddie and I both agreed that these were the managing co-venture partners we needed to get to know, as they seemed to carry the vision of what was really needed to be done. Now, the unique thing is that Eddie now works more with them than he does with me, and I'm glad that we've developed such a strong relationship with them, because it's to our mutual advantage. Eddie is now the president of IEC. He is also very involved with Javier Reyna, who is the president of FIDES. And Eddie is a bank officer of FIDES. And Eddie and I own Gracia Abundante, a major player in all the transactions that occur behind the scenes of ICC. And I was blessed with bringing IBOM to the ICC, and the list of accomplishments goes on and on. As I say, more for Eddie than for me. Why do I tell you this? Not because of ego, but I tell you this because we have firmly held the vision to bring commerce through capitalism to the world. We will get the job done or die trying, and I've said that from day one. I've said it before day one. That is my motto. I'm going to get the job done or die trying. Now, we have, with the help of other like-minded men and women of the ICC, made this a reality. And I say that because we're all set to go. We've got everything in place, and funding will come this month. That is Eddie's take on the situation. So when it comes exactly, I'm not allowed to say. I don't know, and I'm not about to stick my neck out and jeopardize all the hard work that all of these people have done for us. I'm merely the messenger, letting you know that everybody's confident that funding will start, trades will complete, all these contracts that have been put in place will finally come to fruition. Been a challenge, been delays. We work at the speed of government, unfortunately, at many times, and we have to just wait for them to do what they have to do. Well, let's move on. Look at what man Javier Reina has done with the Managed Co-Ventures Partners help, of course. Javier bought Fides Bank with BVK. He bought a natural gas field in Mexico with BVK. He negotiated the massive billions of dollars with CDs for Fides to hold in conjunction with HSBC Mexico. He's been an ICC member since 1996. 18 years he stood by Ben and Richie and has lived their dream just as Eddie and I have since 2009. If anyone should be unhappy as an ICC member, Javier should be the one member who has waited the longest. Now, is he an owner? Absolutely. He owns Fides Bank. Has he done other wonderful things in his life? He's bought, I'm told, a house with BVK, a couple of cars with BVK. He went out and did it. I did it. Others have done it. You can do it too, but you didn't. That's the way it is. Why did he hang around so long? How many people have come and gone in his Setrusmex work center? He's the founder of Setrusmex, and like so many of you have. Yet he stuck it out and has achieved greatness with the exact same tools that you and I have had at our disposal. Now, Eddie has achieved greatness and works side by side leaders, Ben, Richie, Javier, Eddie, and I'm sure there's some other important people that I've missed out on because I don't know them. They're behind the scenes. I've never heard of them, and these men are very special. They're dedicated, they're visionary, and they're gifted, and I believe they are divinely inspired. I really do believe that. And these gifted men who are right now, this minute, changing this world to be a better place for you and I. And I got to tell you, I'm super proud to be allowed to tag along and do what I can to keep up with them to the best of my ability and to try to keep you in the loop and on track so that one day you will light a fire in your heart and come back and help us light a fire big enough that everyone on this planet will see light and choose better for themselves and their families and join us to tell everyone the good news. And I believe that day has come. I think now is the time. And why do I say that? All the indicators around the planet point to that. Here's a recent email I received yesterday from Sovereign Man, and I really like Sovereign Man. My moniker for many of the programs that I'm involved in is Mr. Sovereign. I've had that for, wow, 12 years, I guess, that I've been using that ever since I went to the United States and learned to become a sovereign. So he entitled this document, Don't Have a Plan B Yet? Here's why you should have one. June 4th, 2014, New York City. List walked the lines of his German 14th Army, making final checks and inspections. He must have thought it strange. Between Army Group North and Army Group South, there were over 1 million German troops hovered on the Polish border. And they weren't exactly hiding under rocks. Can you imagine? You're at the border and you're looking over the border and you see all these German troops. Everyone knew that the invasion was coming, especially civilians in Poland. They were surrounded by German sides, and on the 23rd of August 1939, the Soviet Union signed a non-aggression pact, effectively acquiescing the fourth side. It was obvious that the entire country was about to be turned into a war zone. And they're all sitting there, seemingly unfazed by this prospect. Well-to-do locals were on holiday at the seaside or keeping cool up in the Carpathian Mountains. 60 miles to the north of List's 14th Army, people in Krakow were enjoying warm summer days in Bolonia Park and on the banks of the Vistula River near Wawel Castle. It was as if they were completely oblivious to the enormity of the consequences about to befall them. We're told not to worry. Poland had prepared some basic defenses, and their military commander, Edward, and I can't pronounce that, so I won't, was supposed to be a strong general. They had been told to be confident, so they were confident. Uh-oh, who told them that? The government. Big mistake to listen to the government. On the 1st of September 1939, Hitler's armies invaded. Suffering massive military losses, the Polish government spread all sorts of misinformation on the radio, telling its people about phony victories against the invading German hordes. None of this was true. And within hours, a multi-year military occupation began that would turn the people's lives upside down. Looking back, it looks like watching a cheesy horror flick where some idiot character obviously walks into a dark where the killer is lurking. Human beings have a natural tendency to ignore obvious warning signs and take the path of least resistance. It's a much simpler prospect to stick our heads in the sand than to acknowledge uncomfortable truths and risks. There are plenty of those today. Is this you? Now, I added the "is this you." I will admit that. I look at that, and all of the people on this call, I know that's not you. You've already made changes in your life. And the people that this letter is aimed at also tried to make some changes. And so I'm hoping to bring them back into the fold to get them on side so they can understand, because here's what's happening in the United States. And most of these people I'm talking to live in the United States. Last year, the United States government took in $2.6 trillion in total tax revenue. Yet they spent $2.5 trillion just to cover mandatory spending like Social Security and interest on the debt. Didn't cover any principal because they never pay a penny to principal. How insane is that? You can never pay off the debt, so you're passing down debt generationally. And that's the way the fiat money system works. You have to loan money into existence, and by doing so, you completely indebt nation generationally. Bear in mind that 10,000 people per day become eligible for Social Security benefits, and the debts get bigger every year. They're growing much faster than the government's tax revenue. Why? Because nobody's working, so there is no tax revenue, and there's more people getting into their 60s and 70s. All right? I'm 64. I'm a baby boomer. And, you know, my good buddy Tom, he's 73. He gets a meager pension from Canada Pension. A while back, he said, Gary, you know, you can apply early for your Canada Pension. We worked it out, and it'd be like $400 a month. And I said I would never, ever go back into a system that I fought so valiantly to get out of. That would be insane. I am a sovereign individual. I take nothing from the government. I want nothing from the government. All I want is my freedom to do what I want, when I want, where I want, with whom I want, for as long as I want to do it. That's what freedom's all about. It comes with a high price. I've paid it. I've paid it with the slander from the internet. I've paid it from the banks shrugging their shoulders at me like I'm a criminal. I've paid dearly for that freedom. Would I say to you to go do that? Never. There's no point. Everything you need to know, we already have in place with ICC, and you can now use the system to your advantage as opposed to the system using you. So it's an arithmetic certainty that they will soon fail to collect enough tax revenue to even cover mandatory entitlements and interest on the debt. U.S. economic first quarter of this year, and it was later revised to be negative. Negative. First time I've ever heard there's a negative growth rate in the United States. And governments across the West, well, that's obviously all the Western nations, are now so desperate for growth, they've counted prostitution and cocaine sales in their gross domestic product figures. Bizarre. Meanwhile, the U.S. Federal Reserve has expanded its balance sheet to the point that after subtracting its unrealized losses, there's just $3.1 billion in equity to back $4.3 trillion in assets. Wow. That gives the Fed a margin of safety of just 0.07%, meaning the most important central bank in the world that issues the most widely used currency in the world is practically insolvent. Look, there might not be an army, any army groups encroached on the border, but can't you see the warning signs just as clear as they were back in Poland in 1939? This is not a consequence-free environment. I mean, there's consequences to be paid, and it's going to happen sooner than later. So unfortunately, most people are just as oblivious. Again, I put in, is this you? It may be days, weeks, months, or years before anything really happens, but intelligent people don't ignore the obvious risks to their livelihoods and their families. Intelligent people have a plan B. Intelligent people put on their seatbelts. More on this tomorrow. Well, I haven't seen it yet. It hasn't shown up. But to continue my saga, please reread and focus on the highlighted areas of Simon's email, especially the green highlighted sentence, intelligent people have a plan B. Intelligent people put on their seatbelts. I hope you consider yourself intelligent. And I know this group that's listening right now does. At some point you were. I know, because you joined the ICC. You've got to be intelligent to join the ICC. You really do. You saw a glimpse of what Eddie and I saw, but for whatever reasons you were or are just going to let a fortune fall by the wayside. Maybe it was because of the delays. Maybe it was because of the constant changes. Maybe it was because it was too hard to understand. And maybe it was because of me, Gary Holmes. Maybe you just don't like me. I don't know. But that was then. This is now. You know, it's still there waiting for you. All you have to do is come back to school, update your knowledge on the latest protocols, do the work, and the funds that await you can be yours. This is a work program. If you don't do the work, receive your funds that you hold. If the managing co-venture partners ever allowed for any one member to receive funds without work needed to be done, the whole ICC network would be attacked again by the SEC for offering investments without a license. So I can assure you that after staving off the SEC in a 6-year court battle, the managing co-venture partners will never, ever provide funds without work. Now, in some cases, you may have already done the work. And if that's the case, and you can verify the work has been done, then you are set to be blessed as funds become available from our own trade platform. Some of you need some admin fees, but do not have the $400 to $1,200 required to do what you need to do a transfer of your WAP and IBO to IBOM or whatever you plan to do. You just don't have the funds. Regardless of your situations, I have a simple solution for you. Do you have 4 people in your circle of influence that has $2.50? Welcome to the best plan B I've ever seen, and thanks to you.com. Is plan B for my wife, that's her URL, and and it can be a plan B for you and your family too. I urge you, no, I implore you to read this website, watch the on-site videos, see it all, and then say no, it's not for me. But please do not say no until you've seen it and understand it. After all, it's only $2.50 US, and it only requires 4 others to participate with you. Yet this little program can produce over $145,000 US from a simple faith seed of $2.50, and 4 others to do the same. Work is a 4-letter word. Maybe that's why you don't like it. Cash is a 4-letter word. Well, we all need it. Put the 2 together to create the funds necessary to build a unique, usable now income stream that will keep you afloat until you do the work necessary to access your ICC windfall. Now, good news, Eddie has consented with me to allow this Miracle and Thanks to You program to be a feeder program for myfuelclub.net. Now, MFC is a work requirement for you to be able to participate with our administration in Bright Star Work Center. So if you want to work with us, you got to be supporting us in My Fuel Club. And if you don't have the $150, well, you don't need it. You just need $2.50. And you can earn your way into My Fuel Club. That's the beautiful part about it. Now, you need 3 people on board with My Fuel Club, yet you'll have 4 people on board from And Thanks to You, who can use their earned funds to join My Fuel Club as well, so no one ever has to spend more than $2.50. All you need to do is to find 4 others who want 145 grand and teach them to do the same. Everything else will fall into place, and you'll have the most unique plan B to offer family, friends, acquaintances on the planet Earth. Each one teaches one to succeed. Everyone can do And Thanks to You. And grow it into MFC, their IBOM account, their Mysterium Trust to protect your IBOM account if you live in North America. And you can even earn the funds you need to purchase any and all ICC products, like your Fetus voucher for your BVK to USD conversion. Are you getting the picture here, folks? All these programs require work, as they're not investments. Come, let me show you what you need started and get the funds you want to change your life. You can hope. You can email me at gdh@legacyassurance.net. Please tell me how I can help you initiate your plan B, because between you and me, Simon is right. You're going to need it sooner than later. I'm waiting to hear from you now. The past is the past. I mean, whatever history has caused you not to move forward, I don't care what it is. You have a new way to get started to fulfill your work requirements that's simple and easy, but say this to yourself: if it is to be, it is up to me. Great success in all that you decide to do. Gary. All right, so that's going out to approximately 7,000 people, and hopefully they'll make a decision to be on this webinar week after week, learning what they need to that up soon. And you know, they didn't have to. That's tragic. We need work. We need people. We need members to see this thing for what it is. It is the only viable alternative to the crumbling fiat currency system. And you say, well, you're using the trade platform. It is fiat currencies. You are using U.S. Treasuries. That is the fiat system. You're darn right it is. But guess what? We don't use the fiat system to our detriment. We use it to our benefit, because we have gold, we have billions in USD cash, and we have other assets in natural gas and in oil. And so we are replete with all the assets of any major country. And yet we're the world's country. Everybody can join us, any country in the world. We're in 155 countries. We have members in our database from 155 countries. That's how big it got. And then obviously we had some delays. Those delays said, oh, it's never going to work. Well, of course it's never going to work if you stop working it. Well, Eddie and Gary and Javier and Mr. B and the rest of the gang, we just never stopped, and we never will. Why? Because we already know where we're headed, and we know the results we're going to achieve. And they're going to be achieved starting this month. Super exciting information. All right, so there we have it. If there's any questions, let me just see if I can go to the chat section and enable chat box. I guess I better do that for you. Yep, there we go. The system does not come on until the exact time. It opens up at the allotted time. Huh. Okay, I didn't know that. Amazing. All right, well, because last night, it seems to change. Last night, we came on board, Bonnie and I, and we were talking before the webinar, and there were many of you that are on this webinar talking before the start. So that is really strange that it just popped on right at the top of the hour. All right, well, I'll figure it out someday. Anyway, let's move on. We've got a lot more exciting information to share with you. And we have a protocol that was discussed on Tuesday. But before we discuss that, one of the things that I found, because from time to time I actually check out the entire website. Click here for more important news reports. Now, this has been here for a long time, but I never saw these before. Maybe you have. The truth is out. Money is just an IOU, and the banks are rolling in it. Oh, here's our Harmony of Dogs. Money creation in the modern economy, money creation in the modern economy video, and an introduction video. And so all of these things are new and available for you. Isn't this amazing? Listen to those dogs. And they will stop all at once. No, they're not quite finished yet. They're singing a song. Now there's one in the back howling. Isn't that fun? Almost done. They do it about 3 times a day. I can barely hear myself think because they're right below me. See? Oh, I thought they stopped. But somebody decided to continue singing. Oh, it's the neighbor's dog that's spurring them on. He's got that heavy woof. Anyway, I'll shoot the dog. No. Poison the meat? No. I wouldn't do any of that. Now, see, they're all quiet again, and life goes on. Whoop, there's another sneaker there. Oh, craziness. Every place has its noise, doesn't it? Anyway, now it'll be quiet for the balance of the afternoon. All right, so back to our headlines. And in the real estate as a vehicle to obtain funds, advance towards discounting of documentary funds by IEC. Now this little section right here coincides and was created from the development of Getting It Done, which all came into effect because of the International Energy Corporation treasuries. So these are all interrelated. And I didn't quite fully understand it. We've had a couple of members who have either almost paid for or fully paid for properties that have read the information since Tuesday and said, gee, Gary, maybe I should be doing this. And so I said, well, gee, I really don't know much more than you do, so I better find out. So I contacted Eddie and I said, Eddie, do I need to call Ben and Richie or do I need to talk with you? He said, no, I'll spend some time with you. So we spent about an hour and a half and we went through it and I took some notes and we're going to go through those and let's do it now because this is a real good moneymaker for immediate cash flow for you and for me. And for those of you that have properties that are almost paid for, at least have 40% plus in equity, you can really do some amazing things. Let's check it out. Okay, so this document will be up on the website later on today. Using real estate as a vehicle to obtain funds advanced towards discounting on documentary funds. UGG. Okay, UGG. Number 1, identify property owned by a motivated seller. Well, you don't have to sell your property, but you could be a lender that has foreclosed, or you could be an owner that's facing foreclosure, or an owner that would like to put equity to work. And these 2 individuals that came to me were in that situation. And that will appraise for value significantly greater than the amount owed on the property. Well, if your property is paid for in full, you don't have to worry about. Now, Eddie said, look, Gary, you've got to make sure that people understand that the equity should be greater than 40% to make this work for all concerned. But we're certainly open to negotiations, as you'll see. Okay, so it could be somebody that's in the neighborhood. They got the big foreclosure sign on the front lawn, and you can go knock on their door and say, hey, look, we can help you with your property. When's it going to be foreclosed on? Have you got any equity? Yeah, you know, I've got a $300,000 house. I owe $50,000, and the bank's going to steal it from me. Wow, can we help that person? Or it could be the bank foreclosing, and you know the banker, and say, look, we can help you with this property. And certainly if you've got equity in your property and you want to make it work for you and make money as opposed to make debt, then this is the way to go. Number 2, identify a buyer that can secure a loan that might be less than the full appraised value, but must be greater than the amount owed on the property. So the notes were, someone has to qualify for a loan. All right, so that could be you, the owner of the property, going to a financial institution, and so you don't seek $200,000 loan if you owe $500,000, as you have to be able to pay off the first lien holder. All right, so keep those things in mind, and these are the unique things that Eddie thinks of that I don't. Number 3, as part of the purchase contract, the seller would agree to use the negotiated amount of funds the seller would receive at closing to acquire Tickets USD IEC. Now, doing this, you're actually going to be setting up a Fetus Bank contract. We all know that the Fetus Bank contract provides for a 1-year contract, renewable, should you decide that that would be a smarter thing to do. Plus, you'll get 10% per year on whatever Tickets USD IEC you bought. So let's say you bought 100,000, you know you're going to get 10 grand in interest earnings. Plus, you're going to get 250% to buy anything you want. What a sweet deal in using your equity to make all this happen. So notes, all part of the equity you get from the loan has to deposit. I'm sorry, all or part of the equity. So you got $100,000 equity that you pulled out of your house. Let's say it's a $150,000 house. You got a loan for 100 grand. You can say, look, I need 20 grand immediately. So you can take the 20 grand and put the 80 grand into the Tickets USD IEC, or you can put it all in there, and there's another way that you can get 37.5% of a lot more to use as well, and we'll discover that in just a moment. So typically, a lender will not provide more than 80%, so you're going to need to provide 20%, as the bank usually wants to see you have something to lose more than just the property. If there is no 20%, then on a fully paid for property, it might go 40 to 50% without the 20% from you or someone else. Now, this is going to get exciting, I'm telling you, because I know a lot of you are saying, well, geez, I own my house, but I don't have any money to do it. Otherwise, I would. Well, guess what? You don't need any money to do it, because the 20% can come from someone else. So, number 4, by acquiring the Tickets USD IEC, the seller could receive a bank contract issued by Fetus to pay the principal equal to the value of the Tickets USD IEC plus the 10% interest with documentary funds discountable by IEC to provide full value of principal plus interest in 1 year. The seller could also immediately receive documentary funds discountable by IEC to provide value equal to 250% of the value of the Tickets USD IEC to acquire any items the seller may choose. The seller could then negotiate with the buyer and include in the purchase contract buyer sharing these benefits. So again, in a foreclosure situation where the person's got lots of equity, needs the 20%, find somebody that's got the 20% and say, look, I'll share a portion of my 250%. I'll give you half if you'll do the deal. All right? It's all about negotiations. There'll be no deal the same. There's no cookie cutter here. So let's take a look at the notes. So if you make a $100,000 deposit to Fetus and obtain the Fetus Bank contract issued by Fetus, you would have the ability to receive $250,000 in documentary funds to be discounted in addition to your $100,000 available in documentary funds after 1 year contract, along with 10% on your $100K. You could also just use $50,000 of the $100,000 borrowed to be placed in Fetus and have the other $50,000 to work with immediately. So you can tailor-make this for yourself. And so the two people that have the funding are on the call, so I'm hoping you're starting to get the wheels turning as to what you can do for yourself. So the 250% is based on the actual Fetus deposit, not on the amount of the loan. Interesting to note that if you were selling the property to another creditworthy buyer and they were coming up with the loan, that you could sweeten the deal by offering a portion of your 250% or vice versa. So that's pretty darn exciting. Number 5, based on the value of Tickets USD IEC that the seller agrees to purchase, the buyer could negotiate to have IEC provide an amount of funds on behalf of the buyer to use as all or part of the down payment required for a lender to provide the loan to a buyer. Now this is very important because the person that's sitting there being foreclosed on absolutely has no funds. So IEC can come to the rescue and provide the 20% downstroke. The notes say this is where down payment can be made available on your behalf. So if you don't have the 20% to secure the loan, you can negotiate with IEC for them to provide the down payment, so this protocol may be used by you when you have no funds. Hallelujah. Number 6, a buyer could agree to house one or several LMF computers. So we just include that in the deal, right? An LMF computer in the property and be paid twice the amount of funds required annually by a lender. Because obviously, if you're going to take a loan out on the equity, you're going to have monthly payments. So you're definitely wanting to include the LMF computer. Now, the payment would be received in documentary funds that could be discounted by IEC to provide the full amount equal to twice the annual amount payable to the lender. So when I read that, I said, geez, I don't know. So, and he says, look, let's say you're buying into this protocol, you're getting the 80% loan to the value of $100,000 appraised on the property. So that would be $80,000 because the 20% has been placed there by IEC to complete the transaction. Let's say that the $80,000 loan causes you, the buyer, to have a $1,000 a month payment for principal, interest, and taxes. The LMF computer protocol would provide you with twice that amount on an annual basis, so you wouldn't have to submit paperwork monthly. So that would be 1,000 times 12. That's 12,000 times 2. You're going to get an additional $24,000 in documentary funds to be discounted, so that you would have $12,000 for the monthly PIT and $12,000 to service and maintain the LMF computer. Such a sweet deal. Number 7, the seller and or the buyer could follow the Getting It Done protocol in chips-corner.com to accelerate discounting of documentary funds. Notes, the Getting It Done protocol is simply the promotional effort on your part of getting other FETUS deposits lodged with FETUS. That protocol creates this protocol. So what you want to be doing is saying, look, I'm doing this, you need to be doing it too. Walk your neighborhood and say, look, have you got equity in your property? Have you got a need to pay off some debt? What if I could show you a way to really make some serious money and be totally secure, get 10%, and that will more than cover your loan. You'll have the monthly payments covered. Everything is going to be done here. This is a superior way to make your property work for you. Okay, number 8, the sponsor that arranges the transaction can receive an amount in USD deposited funds equal to 5.25% of the value of the tickets USD IEC in exchange for chips, exchange for cash registered for the sponsor because of this transaction. Now, if you're not a sponsor, you come to me and say, Gary, I'm not a sponsor. Will you be my sponsor, and can we work a deal? Okay, the 5.25 is 75% of the 7% available in the 70% discount store. So you can go read the compensation for those programs. But we're certainly open to doing a share on the 5.25 if you are not ownership of a one-member sponsor place or a one-member place. Number 9, I should say, if IEC is not called on to provide funds for the down payment on behalf of the buyer, the sponsor may also be advanced an amount equal to 37.5% of the value of the tickets USD IEC towards discounting of documentary funds the sponsor is contracted to have IEC process. If IEC is called upon to provide funds for down payment, this amount would be reduced by twice the amount provided by IEC, or by the full amount if twice the value provided IEC exceeds the full amount. So I didn't understand that. So back in number 5, it talked about providing a down payment, 20%, if funds were not available. If you don't have to exercise number 5, then this money could be available to advance interim financing of 37.5 of the FETUS deposit. So again, if you did 100,000 in FETUS deposit, you can have 37.5 immediately available. I mean immediately available. Immediately available right now. That 37.5 is available in cash to you. This would be deducted when the discounting of the 250% has been achieved. So if you're getting 250,000, they'd take the 37.5 off of that, and you would just get the difference. Now, it gets even better. If a real estate agent is also the sponsor, the above could be in addition to real estate fees. So there's a target here. So you want now you can get cash by helping others get cash, and real estate is the one way to do this quickly. So remember to review the original document. It's got a red letter section. You need to read all that. Go back to Tuesday's webinar and make sure you understand all that red letter stuff. Notes. You can have the equity. You have to have equity, I should say, more than 40%, and here's why. If up to 20% down payment is provided by IEC, IEC is looking to double its money, pure and simple. They're greedy. IEC says we want to be out of debt, we want to be able to help a lot more people, and the more money that we make, the more money we can have to help people, because we need the immediate cash to go and give you the downstroke of 20%. So if IEC puts 20% down for the down payment, they want the original 20% back plus another 20% for their efforts. And this is going to be done on closing. IEC is looking to be in and out real quick with no risk, and this occurs, as I say, when closing occurs. Now here's the 20% from IEC. So here's the questions being asked by IEC. All right, so these are some of the things that you're going to have to think about if you're interested in doing this, or you're interested in teaching other people how to do this. Who's going to be the escrow company? When is it going to close? Who is the approved lender? Is the approved lender providing the 80%? If the lender is not providing the 80%, then there's not going to be any equity. It is the 80% that allows IEC to retrieve that 40% on closing. Now, if you have the 20%, then you can do the deal without IEC. So IEC is non-essential if you've got the 20%. And then you can receive that 37.5 in interim financing. Now, the notice in the red letter section, I highlighted here in yellow. Don't turn down any deal, as many different arrangements may be negotiated, providing there's more than 40% equity available. That's the caveat that Eddie keeps adding. So you want to make sure there's more than 40% equity available. There is no template availability, as there can be far too many variables in this. So what you're going to have to do is to study the material enough to ask the right questions of the candidate to see if it's worth BrightStar WorkCenters and IEC's time to take a look at the deal. And I'm going to be the first person that you bring the deal to. I'll appraise it, and then if it's good, then IEC's staff will take a look at it. So when's this all going to happen? Well, the time window is always when it happens. But we're close to trades that are about to occur, and so that's why they're going ahead to offer this protocol to real estate professionals and brokers. And you know, they're not going to wait 2 years for funding. All right? So that's how close we are with confidence. And they have several deals already in place. So I said to Eddie, I said, well, you know, if we've got these 2 candidates, and I do the session today, and there's some more candidates with good equity in their property, it's going to take quite a while. It's not going to be instantaneous. And, you know, I'm starting to whine and cry a little bit. He says, Gary, stop. Yes, in a conventional situation where you may have equity in your home or property, this protocol may take 30 to 45 days to negotiate and put the contracts in place. But there are real estate professionals right now that know where the deals are. They have lenders. Hard money lenders are out there, folks. Nobody's putting their money in the banks. Why would anybody put their money in the banks? These hard money owners are out there doing real estate deals, and they rely on real estate professionals to bring them deals where they can make at least a couple of $1,000s quick flip. You need 10 grand for a downstroke, 20 grand for downstroke. I want to get my 20 grand back, and I want to make $2,000 or $3,000 on a quick flip. They don't even need to wait on appraisals because they've been working with these real estate professionals. That's what REP stands for. Know them, and they know their deals to be good and can act within days. Eddie says there's deals on the table right now that will close by the end of this week. So that's pretty interesting. This is already taking place with this protocol. Think of the kinds of deals that are out there. Foreclosures where someone has a $300,000 home, they lose their job, and they're going to lose their house over $10,000. What a tragedy. Well, these real estate professionals have their ear to the ground and can put these deals together. The real estate professional often hears about these deals, but They don't have the 10 or 20,000 to put the deal together, so they go to a hard money lender to do the deal. Often what happens is the owner who's losing the property trashes the house out of anger, pure and simple. They go around with a sledgehammer, break the toilets, break the sinks, and do damage out of anger, but the hard money lender can provide the loan for the real estate professional to put the deal together to fix the house, get some funds to move the disgruntled owner moved out and on their way to a new life. And you and I can now offer these real estate professionals a better opportunity to get the deals put together, because they can certainly use the hard money lender because we can move the deal really quick, but we can also provide the 20% downstroke, and that gives the additional security to the hard money lender. Give me something that has more than 40% equity, and we can have IEC do these deals with real estate professionals and hard money lenders all day long. These deals can be done in days, not weeks. We have the tools for these deals now in place. So our job, our work, our opportunity is to present this protocol to real estate professionals and hard money lenders now. Okay? So, does that mean we stop looking for banks? No. Does that mean we stop looking for big energy users? No. But you and I need money now. And this particular situation is epidemic, especially in the United States, where people are losing their homes. You can see sign after sign after sign in neighborhoods throughout the United States. Bankruptcy sale, foreclosure, bank foreclosure, all of those. You just need to go and do some legwork, find out who the real estate professional is that's involved, present this information to them, and we'll get them on side pretty darn quick. All right, well, what I'd like to do now is to go ahead and answer any questions that you might have. I'm sorry, the page is not showing. It should be showing. Well, if it hasn't shown, it will be up on the website, and you can read it again and listen to me read through it. I thought you were seeing this because it is showing on my screen, so therefore, since I was sharing my screen, you would be seeing it on yours. All part of the learning curve. Okay, so are there any questions? Go ahead, type them in, pop them up there. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. So things are very, very close to funding being received. Eddie assured me that I'm at the top of the food chain, and funding for my Fuel Club will become available very, very quickly, and we'll get Fuel Club rocking. And thanks to you is a great feeder program, a great way to make some serious money. And we'd just love for you to share, and thanks to you, to all of these people who have said no to my Fuel Club and say, look, maybe it's the money, maybe it's the risk of the money, you haven't got 150, 250 or whatever. Start here, work with me here, and we'll show you how to wean yourself into my Fuel Club and then ultimately up to the big ICC protocols. All right. So, Marianne says she has lots of questions, and so she wants to see an example. Can't really show you an example unless we use yours specifically, and that's personal, so we're not going to do that here. We'll set up a time to get together. Yes, you could get an equity loan from your property. If there's no down payment necessary, that's definitely a way to go ahead and do it. Whatever way that you have to do it. If it's an equity line, perhaps you don't have to get a new mortgage on it. All these things need to be investigated. Again, I'm not a real estate professional. I'm not a loan broker. I have no clue. I try never to borrow money. All right? I want to pay for everything cash. So all of these things. Put your thinking caps on, folks. This is an opportunity for you to flex your muscles and take these protocols. Remember, Javier used BVK to buy a bank. He used BVK to buy a gas field. And the unique thing in the story on that is this individual, wealthy landowner from Mexico came into Fides Bank, and the bank personnel contacted him and said, we've got a person that wants to know if you would like to buy a gas oil field. So he said, let me talk to the person. And they had a conversation, paraphrased, of course. I've got this gas oil field on my property, and it is bleeding me dry. Now, how can a gas oil field be causing you pain and anguish? You should be making a fortune. Well, he said it was costing more money to get it out of the ground, processed and shipped, than what he was earning on it, because natural gas prices are pretty inexpensive. So Javier said, would you be willing to take gold-backed currency? And they negotiated, and sure enough, he bought it with BVK. And obviously, Javier is a very smart man. What he had in his back pocket is he has a process to turn natural gas into diesel fuel. So what can I say? You know, turn lemons into lemonade. What an awesome way to go. So he's done some pretty amazing things. And I've talked with him on a few occasions. Obviously, Eddie's talking to him almost on a daily basis. So we're blessed to be in the right place at the right time. We have the only viable solution on planet Earth. It's our job now to get this information out to everybody. Start them off with, and thanks to you, build a relationship. Show them how to double, triple, quadruple. I mean, I've turned my little $2.50 into $180 in less than 2 weeks. I don't think there's too many people out there who wouldn't want to hear how to do that. And they can do that. You can do that. So come join us. We'd love to help you. And we're here to help you, provided you'll help us. That's what it's all about. Great success in all that you're about to do, all that you are doing. For those of you that are here today, I know you're working hard and working smart. God bless you all. Make a great day.